Hi, my name is Norman Fang, and this is our episode 90. And you're probably going to see this on our YouTube channel under Norman's Orchid. So please subscribe, share, and like it. Okay. So today's topic is here. We have a camera here. Paphiopedilum rothschildianum. Okay. So this is one of my favorite multi-floral species, and your collection, if you're really into Paphiopedilum, the lady zipper orchid, your collection is, you're not a serious collector of Paphiopedilum unless you have Paphiopedilum rothschildianum, and which is we refer as king of the lady zipper orchid, and the Paphiopedilum sanderiana, the queen of the Paphiopedilum. And this is actually all from Southeast Asia and from in the mountain. And in the 80s, when I was a student, just give you a background story. They used to sell this, and I'm not by the inch. And at that, when they first come in to America, they were jungle plant. So the first two, the flower, was Charles E. that got an FCC AOS. This is like 30 years ago or more. And Charles E. and Bion, B-I-O-N, FCC AOS. That one's awarded in Southern California. But if you see any of the tag have the Charles E. and Bion, B-I-O-N, avoid that, because compared to today's modern line breeding of the rothschildianum, those are not as good quality, and they're very slow grower. So what happened in the 80s, and I was still in college, and my dream at the time is to have rothschildianum like this, and so they used to sell them by $10 per inch. So when you have a plant like 10 inches, and then measure from tip to tip, that'll be $100 in the 80s, because they are so slow growing. And think about that right now, they're not as very good at the time. We're not as very familiar with how to grow them. And 20-30 years later, this is some of the best rothschildianum we also collect. Some of this is from Hito Orchid Farm. We also have the strain from Taiwan. They're also from Japan. Those are the three areas had the best rothschildianum in the world. And also from Eric Young Foundation from England, the Eric Young Foundation from England. So here you are. So what about why? If you see, I would really hesitate if you see the rothschildianum for sale on any of these social media, less than $50 for blooming size. For blooming size, this is what we call blooming size. Chances are they're probably fake. There's a lot over the years. There's a lot of if you want to buy rothschildianum, buy it from a legitimate professional nursery that you have you can track on that. We have a rothschildianum from flask to seed for the first grow to mature. Take about 5 to 7 years to get to this size. Anything smaller, even this size, they will never flower that size. This is why rothschildianum is such a price, and they're not cheap. But now today you can actually buy a rothschildianum for about $95, and they done all the growing for you. So this is from this size. Take about another year. Repot into a 5-inch pot to blooming size. So if any of the flowering size available, Of course, you want to buy the foreign side. Unless you are like 18 years old or 25 years old, you have the time to invest. But let the professional grower do all the growing for you, because time is money. You know, there's not many. This is like a living antique. Okay, this is why a lot of time you can leave this with your granddaughter and grandson if any of them interested in horticulture. But this is what it is. Rothschild, there's a lot of myth, and of course they are solar leaf. Okay, they actually do not like a lot of hot and direct sun like the Camellia or Vanda. During the week, during the summertime, we grow them more like the Phalaenopsis light. Okay, the only difference is right before they flower in the fall. They usually start spiking this time of the year. I think the by March, April, probably the peak season. So you do not want, I will not do a potting demonstration for this segment, because never repot your Rothschild before Easter, April, because this is, if you repot it right now, you might disrupt the spiking stage. Don't be surprised. Sometime the plant at this size might also have the spike too. So it's best, always best, the rule of the thumb for Rothschild is never repot them before Easter. I know Easter changes every year, but that's just, for me, that's a general rule. And this is what some of my old-timers that had taught me. And so that I followed to heart on the Rothschild. And there's two ways of growing Rothschild. This is probably they like to have a good air movement, because where the species come from, they actually in the island of one of the Indonesia island, and they're on the hill, on the cliff. So there's always a lot of good air movement. So the proper spacing is very important, and also water quality. So they are picky on the water quality. So if you have well water, or you like myself have water in Southern California, we do a lot of what we call double water twice. And or if you have the leisure of distilled water or filtered water, except the water softener, don't do that. This is some of the select plant. Oh, by the way, all this is the one that will flower so far early season this year. This is some of the selected one, and I will release this for Jamie's next week's jumper for selected price. So these are some of the highly selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 of them are the first bloom, and this is about good 8 years old, and they're not at their prime yet. In order to do judging, you need at least 2 more flowers. So this is a good first bloom. So by next year they should have about 5 flowers, and that is about sufficient. So this represents some of the very finest breeding from all over the world. So can you do a close up? Okay, the modern Rothschild, the dorsal had to be really nice dark color, and also the pouch color. You want to get pouch color as dark as possible. And personally, I think that one of the most attractive Rothschild is the ender cap. So you see the ender cap here? Do you close up here? The hair on that. That's very, very striking. And the back of the modern day Rothschild, if you look at the back of the flower, is just as striking as the front here. Okay, so the way I grow them, we grow them in the we have a designated path house, and I think Jamie had taken you there once before. In the summertime, when it's hot, because California is hot, in the summertime when they grow in the vivacious stage, this time of the year, from fall, from October, November to March is when what we call the flowering season. Once they get to mature side like this, you want to give them a lot more light, you know, because this is the time of, this is true for a lot of orchid Phalaenopsis in the Cattleya. This time of the year, the light is strong, but it's not hot, that we will not burn the plant. So when you give them more light, and also it naturally, if you go under light, you do want to cut down your light from 16 hours during the summer down to 12 hours. That way it gives the plant a sense of change in temperature and also change in season. So you gotta have down to 10 to 12 hours. And also right before the flower, they enjoy a little bit dipping in night temperature. So almost that's very similar to Phalaenopsis. You want to have a day and night difference of 10 to 15 degree different in Fahrenheit. Okay, so remember, on the other hand, when we are growing the baby plant or the Rothschildianum, one way for us to speed it up to its extent is grow them warmer at night. So we grow them warm day and warm night, and if you go under light, you can get them year round, 16 hours, just getting more leaf and more leaf. But that way you can cut down about 1 year to 2 years. But once you get to mature size, about 5 years old to 6 years old at this size, this is what we call the mature size. Okay. Now, how many of you have Rothschildianum or hybrid with Rothschildianum? This is the foundation of in a lot of the multi-floral we have today. So any of the multi-floral, when we say multi-floral, is more than 1 or 2 flowers, not the sequential. A lot of them, if you have big and present flower and really dark pouch, most likely they have Rothschildianum in the background. So once you understand what the requirement for Rothschildianum, it's very easy to go on to the hybrid. So this, we will do another segment on the multi-floral, maybe in April or May when the season comes. But the species itself always flower in as early as February, March in the springtime. And this is why, this is the first one, this is why the Rothschildianum is such popular at show. People always grew to the flower when you at the orchid show. If you have good Rothschildianum with 5 flowers, easily get grand champion, best Paphiopedilum, or sometimes even get a grand champion to show. There are several Rothschildianum in there. You can go to orchids.com and just type in ROTH, that's short for Rothschildianum, just ROTH. They will bring out all the Rothschildianum species that we have. I believe we have about at least 4 different species of Rothschildianum, and also the hybrid with it. Okay, so Rothschildianum is not for small area. You got to commit a space for Rothschildianum. And once you get to this size, this is about it. They only grow more shoot. So you see here, this is the grow here. And this new grow here is going to take the entire year in 2022 to grow and mature. And then you're going to get a new spike for 2023 from this. So all this summer and fall, you're going to get a new growth from here. So this is the perfect example of Rothschildianum love moisture that you actually have algae growing on the top of the bark. The primary, the best ultimate bark, the mix for Rothschildianum is the fir bark. You can use kiwi bark, but never use the spanded moss. The reason being the path itself, this species was found on the cliff and very close to the limestone, so they do not like acid polymedia. So this is why a good in California we usually do use the Douglas fir bark, and Douglas fir bark have the perfect pH for them. It thinks about 8.5 and on them. So never use spanning on the Rothschildianum, okay? And the other fertilizer we use, the very picky about fertilizer also because the root tips, okay, the species, they are very sensitive to the bad water. The fertilizer, make sure you use the very refined. Now, Norman's orchid fertilizer is very, very refined. If you are new with us, I'm going to show you this. You see how refined they are? Okay. Compared to what you see on some other fertilizer, that very big crystal, this is almost a powdered sugar. This is very refined. This is the most purest you can buy, use for agriculture. This the next grade is the reagent grade, which is you can use it for research and pharmaceutical. So, but this is how if you got the bad fertilizer, the plant will tell you they don't like, they will respond in the brown tip. The brown tip usually is what they do not like in the fertilizer. So on the Rothschildianum, we usually just do instructions, just a small teaspoon per gallon of water, and then we do it with everything else. We are Phalaenopsis, we are Cattleya, and everything else. Do not try to push them. I know some people say, wow, this is so slow grower. I want to crank up with a fertilizer, double shot. I have people actually told me that, oh, I'm gonna double up the fertilizer, so given like 200 part, 300 part per minute of the nitrogen. Don't. You can only genetically. That's how God created them. They take their time to grow them. If you're trying to push them, the first thing you're gonna do is to slowly kill the root, and then once the root die, the plant start decay slowly. And also never use ice. Okay, do not use ice. If you're not sure on the watering, that was the last episode on the compressed Paphiopedilum. They're very similar. The Paphiopedilum, very different than your Phalaenopsis or Cattleya. Okay, those are succulent root. Paphiopedilum have root hair. Once the root hair got so dry, it's very hard to recuperate the Paphiopedilum root. So if you're not sure, go ahead and water them. And one thing about watering the plant on the rough, and like a lot of the Paphiopedilum, they all have this 45-degree angle. So the water can be easily get trapped in here. And that's why over the winter, if it's trapped overnight, if there's no fungi around the plant, that's fine. But make sure the foliage is dry by night. And we have a designated path roth session, and the path always got water by hand. So the staff is trained to when they water the plant, they will water the base of the plant. Try not to. We never have overhead watering system, because overhead watering, water gonna collect on the pouch, and once the water collect in the pouch, the mold will form, and then the lip will die back prematurely. So, and it will be too much water here. Plus the overhead watering, if one plant got fungi disease, anything, the splash of the water. So the Rothschildianum, any of your multi-floor, because they are such a slow grower, you want to get your watering wand close to the base of the pot if possible. Another thing is, if you're going to be on vacation, rather have, if you're going to be on vacation or a week or so, you can also easily put a saucer. In the short run, put a saucer and put a small layer of water there. So they can pick up the water from the base. It's better, it's not good in the long run, but if a short weekend, up to 10 days will be fine if you had to leave or leave for a trip. And other than that, many people don't like them. They don't have a lot of pests. They're not very attractive. I guess they're not very juicy to chew on. Occasionally, if you might have some snail and slug, but they usually don't go after the Rothschildianum because they're very tough. If you feel the edge of the pot of the leaf, they're actually kind of sharp. So that's why they're actually pretty good as far as the pest and disease. But we also use 5 cent 20 solution. 5 cent here, a teaspoon per gallon of water on your regular maintenance program. If you're new with us, we always use 5 cents, a teaspoon per gallon of water once a month, which we water all the plant. Okay, the instructions say a tablespoon. No, I always do only a teaspoon. The only time I do a tablespoon is when I have to make up a diluted solution for cleaning the pot or repotting to disinfect every potting material. Okay, so always use a teaspoon per gallon, and 5 cents actually will kind of disinfect the plant on the Rothschildianum. Okay, yes.
We have a lot of questions today.
Okay.
Wendy Fisher wants to know, she says, so RO water is best, not tap, along with Norman's nutrients?
Yeah, our water is really good, but I think we have our water, remember Wendy? Our water take out everything, the good and bad, or even the micronutrient. So yeah, if you use our water, yeah, use Norman's orchid nutrient, but also once a month. It will not hurt, especially in the summertime. Once a month, also use your water. You should also add some of the tap water. Okay, so you have some kind of stuff in there, because our water take up all the good and bad, including there are some good fungi in the water that is actually can prohibit some of the bad stuff. Yes.
Okay, Catherine is asking, do we feed Norman's nutrients in Mega Thrive on a regular schedule?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Rothschildianum, once they get to a mature side, they demand a lot of feeding. Okay, once they get to mature side, remember, it takes a lot of energy during the year. This new shoot will take the whole entire year to mature and build up all the energy for next year. So as long as there's a light coming up, okay, even in the cloudy day, the plant do photosynthesis. Not just Rothschildianum, on all the plant. Unless you put it in the closet and there's no light. Once you have a light, for plant have photosynthesis, they start need the energy. So this is why a good, well balanced. See, this old leaves still nice and green. Okay, so this is the optimum way. I'm going to show you some of the Two more questions. Okay.
Wendy and Catherine both are asking, how long do the blooms last, and is 3 flowers the normal first bloom?
Yes, the flowers about 2 to 3 is the normal, and for this is about 7 years old, 5, 6 years old. Yeah, and one thing about Rothschildianum, they get better with age. So next year, what I'm really, once we get the first selected stuff, this is what we call the keeper, and then we will take the time, really grooming plant for the next year. Yeah, and then the Rothschild, as long as you keep the flower dry, don't even mix the flower. Okay, you can only mix the flower when they are a tight bud before they open. Or once the flower is open, keep the plant dry. Okay, so you don't get any botrytis, and the flower actually can last about minimum 3 months. Like keep it indoor or in the area that day temperature don't exceed 85. The cooler, once the flower is set, the cooler the temperature, the longer the flower. Once the flower is so set, you can actually put it away from the window so they not get as hot. The flower is going to last even longer for you. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. When do you know if a plant need to be repotted? Okay, so I'm going to use this example. Here is another Rothschildianum. Okay. You see here? I'm going to see this. The really root bomb. Okay. Okay. But I'm going to repot them yet because my rule of thumb is never repot them before Easter. So okay, you see the difference in leaf color. Okay, this is grow at the brighter light, and when they are in flower, we push them back. Okay, so I'm gonna wait until this is actually okay to cut this off. This is some of the old. This don't get scary. If you see this, it's not disease. It's just that think about this. It's a leaf original from 6 years ago, so it's like an age spot. Okay, so it's part of the senescence. Okay, so this is also a good sign that I will pull the plant away in the area. So this will get repotted first this year because it is really tight, and you can also take a peek. And this is a good look at it. Okay, all right. So this is in here for about 3 years. Okay, so it's time to repot, and then we're going to do another segment, just one segment on repotting the Paphiopedilum, including the roth, and we probably do that in about April. Producer, can you remind me about in April? Okay, that's a good time, and I will show you all the multi-floral, the Rothschildianum and complex again, and then the multi-type. Okay, so but as far as the Rothschildianum, even though it's kind of tight pot like this, it's going to dry out faster. So make sure you water them a lot, and then put all the one that need to be repotted in the area, so there will be as a priority to repot them. Okay. Okay, what about a hybrid? The hybrid, for example, this is the Hilo Black Eagle, and it's Johanna Burha by Rothschildianum. Okay, you can tell there's a lot of work that's been done with the hybrid. The hybrid is actually trying to create, and it'll be faster to grow. Okay, so this is a hybrid. Again, a lot of multi-floral. This is about 5 years old. Okay, so this is why on the roth, any of the multi-floral, never buy anything smaller than 6 to 8 inches leaf span. Okay, and that's what we call near mature size. And of course, if you see this somebody offer the eyelashes size, stay away from it, because it take about 5 to 7 years to find out. No eyelashes size, huh? No ice.
No eyelashes, no ice.
No ice, yes. Okay. And here's another good example. Same hybrid. Okay. This is the fun about raising seeding. This is the same hybrid. and different grow habit. But this one here have one grow, which is actually a little bit experiment that we did on the feeding. Okay, this is a perfect example. This is the same hybrid. This one have the mega dry treatment. This one here had no mega dry. Without mega dry, it have only one new grow coming up here. And then this one here have two new grow. This is what we want. Tremendous. So even though you only have one flower, so when you see something like this, I will cut the one flower off. That way the energy will concentrate on this two grow. And this is the one will be also for repotting into a 5-inch pot later. Okay, I'm gonna give you, I just at the nursery, I grabbing a lot of plant. Okay, here's another Rothschildianum hybrid. So in the springtime, even though we're not repotting them yet, okay, this is the time we start taking off some of the older leaf, okay, because you don't want the water stay and collect them, and because they are decomposed already, so you want to take them away, start doing the spring cleaning. This is one of the reasons we don't want to repot them right now, because they can be spiking like this. So if you repot them right now, you might destroy the plant. So this is why the rule of thumb is always repot the Rothschildianum and the Rothschildianum hybrid with it. Never repot them before Easter. Okay, so here's another one. Here you go. Have I repot this in January? Destroy the root tips, and they might not have enough energy to pick up all the nutrients to put out the new spike. So we set them aside. I usually just at the nursery, because I don't want to use a tool. Just usually use your hand to pull them up. That way you don't have to worry about the tool might contaminate the plant. Okay, so here the same thing, a nice cleaning, and I'm expecting this one can have a spike very soon. So this is why they can be spiking as late as this is a hybrid, as late as May on this one here. Okay. Here's another one. You can tell this is another one of this 7 years old leaf. Okay, and this is a time to do some house cleaning. Again, this is from old leaf. Just cut them off. This is from the old leaf. You can peel them off. That way, make sure there's no weed here. Voila. You see here? Got a nice growth coming up. Only 2 flowers, but that's okay. Once the flowers finish, I will not let the flower lot stand for too long. Maybe after the 2 or 4 open, my idea is to cut them off, repot them, because by then will be a nice new growth. And we'll show this in April. Then really build up this 2 growth for next year. If I leave this on the flower for 2 or 3 months, it really slow down the energy on this 2 growth. So, I just break one. Okay, so I was usually sacrifice the first 2 bloom, and then use as a cut flower. Once you use a cut flower like this, they're gonna last minimum 6 to 8 weeks as a cut flower. Okay. Okay, so we're going to leave this here. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So any more question? So that's actually, I like to simplify. Remember some of the stuff we cover on the path. Good air movement. Try to water by hand, and when you water, the water is the most important in growing roth. Good water quality, and trying to water from the base, not the way the leaf is possible. And if you have water, if you have overhead watering in your greenhouse, I would recommend make sure you put it in higher locations so they get a lot of air movement, so the its center is dry by night. Or if they are start spiking, I would put it away from your greenhouse. Have the automatic watering system, because a lot of time when you water, depending on the area, if you water one orchid, I've seen people who in the greenhouse have vanda, cattleya, everything. Okay, the vanda is the one might want to have misting all the time. Then this will be getting too moisture, and that's when you get a lot of problem with the spotting on the leaf. So the solution with that is, okay, to keep the vanda happy, we'll put this away from it, let it drier. And if you can keep up with that, and you should have no problem with that. 5 cent is a very good preventative program. Once the disease or spotting, as long as they are not spreading, those are not disease. So lots of time it could be just a fungi spotting, and sometimes the plant will contain and stop it. So you can actually do what we call cosmetic trimming and cutting apart. Do not use any of the really toxic material. They don't need to. Okay, the plant itself is very strong. They do have a very good immune system against a lot of fungi attachment. It's not easy to penetrate on the Rothschildianum leaf on that versus some of the very soft leaf on the Phalaenopsis, for example. Keep it simple. Really, keep it simple. Do not use anything new. If you read something, this is chemical is good for this and that, before you use it on the Rothschildianum, use it on the less expensive plant first, because it's such a slow grower. Anything that is overdosed by the pesticide or fungicide, it takes longer to recover. So anything that you want to for example, in our nursery, if we want to test anything new on the path, we usually try it on the Maldiai type, the one that with the variegated leaf, because they are they're not expensive. But the Rothschildianum is the last one you do any experiment on any new and fancy chemical on that. And do not use Coalside 101 on roth. The Coalside 101 is all copper-based fungicide. The only one you can use for bacterial rotting, that's what I recommend, is a Phyton 27. Phyton is it have copper in there, but it's a lot more advanced formulation. Once you spray them, there's no color on that. So unless you don't have a bacterial problem that usually associate with a crown rot, you don't have to. But it's nice to have a Phyton in your collection for that. But usually in our collection, we never spray Phyton as a preventative. 5 cents is enough as a preventive program. The key is a good air movement, and never let them dry out. And other than that, they are beautiful plant. I think they are very pretty, even without flower, and very nice grassy leaf on them. And they're also very
about how much light.
The light is actually in the summertime just like Phalaenopsis, but right from now, from October to March, we're getting more light, very similar to cattleya. Okay, so you gotta kind of, because they enjoy more light this time of the year. Even a lot of the big standard Phalaenopsis also need a lot more light for the flowering stage. But usually about good 1,000 to 2,000 foot candle before they flowers. Okay, if you Phalaenopsis, if you Paphiopedilum, this size still have not flower, check the light, and also check the the fertilizer that you feed them. They are what they eat. So a lot of time the fertilizer has too many urea in there, and the urea form of nitrogen might not available to them. This is why if you look at my fertilizer, did not have any urea in there. So the nitrogen is readily and right away available to the orchid. All right. So
Where do you spray the Mega
spray you can spray the Megathrive on the leaf. Yeah, but the
Right?
Megathrive on the leaf, or you can more expensive. But Megathrive is actually you can also use Megathrive as a watering. Okay, but you can cut it down as lower as one ounce per gallon for watering. Okay, but for spraying, the ultimate is 3 ounces per gallon of water. So spraying, the spraying is very different because the spraying does not give you that kind of volume that water in the plant. The spraying lightly because they dry out really fast. Okay, once you spray the Megathrive on this, we sprayed them yesterday, and you can tell the response right away. They perk up, and they really enjoy this the Megathrive treatment, almost like a spot treatment in a way. Okay, so to use the Megathrive on the Rothschild because they're slow grower and they can use all the help that we can give them. Okay, and at the meantime, just enjoy if you get some last week in spike, the flower is going to take 2 to 3 weeks gradually to get the size, get the presentation. Okay, and enjoy.
How many fans do you usually look for before you divide it?
If I were you, I would not divide it and divide any Rothschild less than 6. Okay, because they are such a slow grower. Anytime you divide them, almost like went to a big surgery. Okay, most of us, and I would strongly recommend not to divide unless you have had 12 grow. Just keep slightly pot up like this. For example, can be in this pot for another 2 years. Okay, so by the end of 2 years, they will have 3 fans. I will not still divide them. I will keep it until a minimum of 6 fans. Then you can divide into half. But if I were you, I would just keep growing them up. It's very impressive, and get a culture to have 3 spikes at the same time with 6 flowers on them. And when you had that, go into any orchid show, I bet you probably get the grand champion of the show. And that happened a lot at a lot of shows, including Santa Barbara show, Miami, and also the New York. And a lot of shows we went to when you just cannot, the presence of the Rothschild is really, really commending. All right, so thank you very much. And